Hi.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Hello.
He's taking a couple days off.
I was dead.
Sick.
I was completely dead.
You weren't dead. You're sick.
Hyperbole never hurt anyone.
I don't know. I think there's some English teachers that would argue. But you were sick and now you're back.
Yes.
You had a couple stand-ins.
Yeah.
That we didn't
I think they did great.
I think they did great too.
It was very, I was very surprised with how much I needed to hear it from other people.
Their experience of your day.
Yeah.
Of your day.
And I need to hear the others.
You want to hear the rest of your sisters.
Yeah.
You probably want to hear your dad's too. Obviously. I mean, I'm working on it.
I think that one is
nudging him
fun.
a little to come on the podcast.
I don't know if he's going to want to.
I don't care.
Oh.
So I just wanted to recap. You, for anybody who hasn't listened, you have talked about your day.
Yes.
That might be a nice way to talk about it. Your day.
As opposed to
the day everything changed. You talked about in episode 2.
Yeah.
It's a pretty in-depth conversation.
Yeah.
We actually had never talked about it since the accident like that.
Yeah, not at all.
I wouldn't have, in your recovery, I wouldn't have wanted to take you there.
No.
There were parts I remember you talking about as you were recovering that you wanted to talk about, but I never wanted to like bring it up like that.
Yeah.
And now I sort of feel like you're ready for it.
Yeah.
But have you listened to the podcast?
No.
No. So you're ready for it, but
I'm ready to talk about it. Am I ready to listen to it? No.
So there's something different about hearing it back?
Yeah, I think so. I think hearing... When I talk about it, I get it out of my system. If I...
wait, out of your system or out of your body?
Out of my body. Like, I'm able to just... It's there. Put it out. But if I listen to it...
Go like this. You have a tear running down your face.
I was hoping no one would notice. I think listening to it, you digest it again. So, like, it's... I will listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't.
Well, you're part of the editing. You did a little bit of editing for some clips for TikTok.
Yeah, and the first clip is, like, the moment it happened, and I'm like, oh, this one's hard.
Yeah, we took you right to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you haven't listened to the episode 2. You've listened to episode 3 and 4.
Yep.
Is that where we're at? Is this episode 5? I can't even remember. It feels like we're getting a lot done. So what did you think of listening to other people's perspectives of the day?
I want to hear everyone's.
That part doesn't bother you, or it does?
Some of it does, but I also think everyone wants to talk about me when we talk about that day, and I really haven't heard how it affected other people that day.
Because you were so removed from
completely
what was happening in normal life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you said that it was hard. You felt guilt after listening to Kyla's podcast because you took their day away from them, essentially.
Well, they were playing basketball and they couldn't focus on basketball at all. So I was like, oh, I totally screwed the pooch on that one.
Do you still feel like you carry some sort of guilt over what happened?
Yeah. Do I think it's nearly as much as it was? No.
Yeah.
I think it's a hard question because it was so much not my fault. And I'm fully aware of that. So much not my fault. But it still happened to me. It still was me. Can't really fix it.
One of the things that I talked to Kyla about in episode 3 was what makes her different of the siblings. There's 5 girls.
Yeah.
And what makes her, or what would she tell somebody if they were to say, hey, well, which one are you? Which one are you?
Yeah.
It's kind of a silly question, but I think you guys kind of get this in a way. Or sometimes people will ask me about my kids, and maybe one of you more specifically than others.
Yeah.
What is it that sets you different than the rest of them?
I think it's probably, and this hopefully won't sound selfish, but it's hopefully my selflessness.
That's the thing about you, right? Hopefully this doesn't sound selfish. It's literally the answer to that question.
Yeah.
that's like the sentence of your life. Hopefully I will never be selfish.
Yeah, I don't ever want to be selfish. I was like, sorry. This is what's coming out today.
Yeah. You are very pregnant.
Yes, I am. We should put that
You're
in
allowed a measure
2.
of grace just for, we should have mentioned that in episode 2.
Yeah.
That we are going through this at a, not just a interesting time of year because of like the weather kind of being the same. And
yeah,
we're headed up on an anniversary here in about a month.
Yeah.
But also you're almost 28 weeks pregnant.
Yeah, almost 3rd trimester.
Yeah. So this is all just kind of coming, get it all out,
It needs to be out. Yeah, I think I don't ever want to appear selfish because I think everyone around me matters so much.
Do you know when I'm the most proud of you? Do you want to know?
Do you want me to cry more?
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to cry too. I'm the most proud of you when you know what you need and you verbalize it.
Yeah.
Because I know then that the rest of us don't have to take care of you because you're willing to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because some of us, me probably, I'm not going to speak for we because I don't know we, but I suspect that there's more than just me in this.
Yeah.
I try to see where I can pick up for you and go like this. You got to think. Yeah. I try to see where I can pick up tasks for you to try to take stuff off of your plate.
Yeah.
For you. And that's not always easy because you guard what you need so close to your chest.
Yeah.
That I don't want you to run ragged.
Yeah.
But then you run into points where you're like, I feel like I dropped the ball. Right? You said that yesterday when we were recapping Macyn's jars. And like, you're like, I feel like I dropped the ball. And the rest of us are like, we don't see that. But also we don't know how to help you if you feel like you are dropping the ball.
Yeah.
So you are, in my opinion, the most selfless of all of them. And that's not to say that the rest of them are not selfless, but there is a part of you that is and has always been put the spotlight on the others. I want to be in the crowd cheering.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I were to ask you, are you proud of yourself? You mentioned yesterday, yes, I'm proud of myself for the accident.
Yes.
Like you're proud of yourself with how you handled it. You're proud of yourself with, you could go into that if you want.
Yeah. I'm very proud of myself for the accident with how much I just kept moving, kept like living instead of just stop.
Yeah. Yeah. But are you more proud of your sisters?
Yeah, because they had to actually pick up the slack.
Just like so silly.
Yeah.
In a way. It's like, doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, their lives were on hold. Like I was
During your
living,
accident.
Yeah, I was living a very pivotal point in my life that I had to keep living, and their lives were put on hold asking what I needed.
Right. So let's go back to where we picked up with episode 2.
Perfect. Let's refresh my face too.
Yeah. we could hit moments of this.
Perfect.
Today, I suspect. We could hit more tears in this episode than we expected by far.
Completely.
We kept telling people that the hard stuff was over.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, so we left you in the hospital.
Yes.
You were in the ER and you were just being transferred to a room. You
Yes.
were transferred to a room at about 5 a.m. I feel like
5 a.m.
It was early. I came down that day.
Yeah.
There were actually a lot of people there, but you didn't lay eyes on a lot of people because there were restrictions about how many people could be in your room.
Yeah.
There were 4 people that I know of that came down to Chicago that day. 2 of them you saw. One of them was me. And then Alec came in after me, I believe.
Yes.
So I had the opportunity, though, to be in the room when the doctor came in.
Yes.
It's so funny. I actually just deleted the audio. I had recorded the audio from the doctor.
Yeah.
Just in case I needed it. I always kind of do that. Turn on a recording just in case I get any details. It's a smart thing to do with medical, right?
Yeah.
I just found them. It's like 45 minutes of him sitting. Do you remember him sitting?
Yeah.
over next to you.
Yeah. It was like on the windowsill, right?
He's
It had like
by
a
the
pillow on
window.
yeah.
Yep, he's sitting by the window, and he was talking a little bit about how I wonder where your dad went. Apparently thinks you're struggling.
I don't know why he would.
Yeah. He came in to talk and kind of recap what this looks like.
Uh-huh.
But also, I remember him kind of going through a couple things that we didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know when we would be expecting for that hole to close.
Yeah.
So point to where in your face, now that we have like a...
I was, yeah, a direct.
Yeah, it's more direct now.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see, actually, now that you've been crying, it actually is a little bit redder.
Probably.
Yeah. So when you tell people about your scar,
yeah,
what do you tell them?
I tell them that, like, this part of my nose was left open after the accident.
Yeah, like from here
yeah.
to here.
Yeah.
Completely. You had, point to the part that they did not change. Like that you kept. You kept your forehead, yeah.
I kept my whole nose.
The bulb of your nose and your nostrils.
Yep.
Although
they had cut here for surgeries and flipped it up, but there's
some
surgeries.
Weird flip things that are happening. The integrity of the bottom of your nose, did that change at all?
No.
Just I can't remember. So I do think that there's a flap situation. Like when you turn your head there's a flap part that could be still retouched. The doctor's always said
yes,
he could fix that.
So this portion of my nose was like cut.
Because he came that way.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was cut and moved a little bit. It was still there, but it was just moved.
Still had blood flow.
Yeah. Still had blood flow.
Up here.
Yep.
That scar there is actually a scar from the second revision surgery.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has been touched up
multiple times.
Yeah.
We've that one's been reset a couple times.
Yeah.
Okay. So we found out that day though, when that doctor was sitting there, he said, you're going to have surgery in so many days.
Yes.
He didn't say specifically how many days. He just said, you're going to be seen by the doctor. And then we're going to determine how many days. Because we briefly touched on this in episode 2 about how dog bites, they want to check the bacteria problem.
Yes. Yeah, so dogs' mouths are incredibly dirty, so you have to let the skin declare itself whether or not it's going to make it. Basically, whether or not it's going to be infected or not.
Right. And if they close that up, they might have to go in and completely pull it apart anyways. No matter how much they clean that tissue, the tiny bacteria can grow.
Yeah. If they had left a little hole open at all, my whole nose would have been...
Yeah, because you could have lost more tissue.
I could have lost my whole nose, frankly. It could have migrated.
Right. So that day, the doctor comes in. He talks to you for about an hour. Yeah. He says, you can stay another night. I want you to stay another night. Let's get this trauma part behind us.
Yeah.
We start preparing as a family for you to come to our house.
Yes.
I still think this was a selfish move on my part.
I don't feel it. Sometimes do I look back on it and think what it could have been? Yeah, but
let's go into it a little bit more. I felt like so you'd been married for 4 months. You had your own house. You had a big dog.
Yes.
Your mother-in-law took the big dog to her house.
Yes.
Just to kind of pull that out of the way of the situation.
Yes.
Which is so kind. Honestly.
Yeah.
Take one variable out of the equation. You could have gone home.
Mm-hmm.
I knew you needed to sleep upright. Your dad is still not home.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, I think I brought you home because I was worried about you.
I think so. Yeah.
And I was worried that you were going to hit a level of depression that I couldn't pull you out of.
And that's what, when I think about it, I still, my house was dark at that time because it was we were just married.
Yeah.
We were hitting some hardships because
marriage.
We were just married. And I think I remember it just being dark.
It was winter too, right? So seasonal stuff's happening.
I needed to be home. I really did.
You mean at my house?
Yeah.
And we only kept you there for a couple days.
Yeah, but if I wasn't there, I wouldn't have had anyone because Alec was still going to work.
Right. We wanted him to bank as much time as he could so that when you did have surgeries, he could be home.
Be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
but I needed to be at your house because my sisters were all there. Like you guys were, I wasn't left alone.
That was actually
Intentional.
that was the goal. In
Yeah.
fact, if you were to ask them, I kept somebody with you all the time.
Yeah.
Not because I wanted you to rest. I didn't want them in your way, but I wanted them there in case you wanted to say something.
Yeah.
You had somebody.
Yeah.
And Kiara was still in the house because she's engaged at that point, but she's not married.
Yeah.
So you have Kiara then.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, man, I feel like I did a lot of right things, but that's one of the things that I'm like, should that have gone the other way? Should we have brought her to our house in the day and then sent her home at night?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But I do know that if Alec ever felt a certain way about me, I don't blame him. Because I shouldn't have taken that from him. I should have asked him. And I shouldn't have I felt like I stepped in as your mom as like, and it was completely because of fear.
Yeah.
Like I needed to have eyes on you because I was so scared that what was happening to you was going to pull you down because your face had changed.
Yeah.
Every time you went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror, every time you had to change those dressings, which was so often.
Yeah.
I was so scared that like you were going to not want to be on earth. Really. Yeah. If I'm being,
yeah,
that's where I was.
Yeah. And I totally get it.
But I think that a couple days into it, I felt better about it.
Yeah.
And I think I also sent you home, said it's time to go home.
Yeah.
I think I sent you home with the goal of, but you can come back during the day.
Yeah.
And then go home. And I think we kind of transitioned to how much do you need to be there and how much do you need to be here so that you still have that interaction with your sisters throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Or me, or we had a lot of doctor's appointments.
Yeah.
But especially during the time where the hole was open.
Yeah.
Which turns out to be 17 days. So you go home, that we meet with the doctor that day. That doctor kind of went over, this is going to be a long road.
Yeah.
Remember? He said this could be years.
Yeah. He's talked about like upwards of 13 surgeries, I remember.
20 procedures is what he said. And to them, a procedure is not a full surgery.
Yeah.
To them, a procedure is shaving down the thing. And honestly, you stopped long before they would have said stop, I think.
Yeah.
Because you still have scars that I think they would have wanted to try to heal.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if eventually I will get them
They've
done.
always left the door open. The surgeon has always said, come back. I will, I'll work on whatever you want to work on.
Yeah.
Which, great. He said, we're going to get you to where we, wherever you want to be, basically is what he said.
Yeah.
But he also told you that every time they revise a scar, they have to reset it and start it over. And so the red part of it is going to start over and it's going to fade back eventually. But in the initial side, the front side of it's going to be red and it's going to have to reset.
Yeah.
He told you that. And I remember not knowing how long that was going to take. And I remember thinking, okay, now we're going to bring her home. So the next day, I'm going to pause because actually this part is important. Chan brought me home that day.
Yes.
I think Alec was with Kim that day because I think Alec and Kim drove together and Chan brought me. On the way home, I said to her something to the effect of, is this something that you started GoFundMe for?
Yeah.
And she paused and said, I think so. And so I started to work on the GoFundMe on the way home from Chicago that day.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we pick up with the part that I think is the sweet spot. You're coming home the next day. Yeah. We start the GoFundMe. And I honestly also posted out, after I posted the GoFundMe, I posted out saying, hey, we're going to bring her to our house. She would love cards to put around her. I was so scared that you were going to like hit a panic button.
Completely.
And that's when all the cards started pouring in. There's a picture that I have of your little corner in the house that we set up with a recliner. We moved the recliner out of my room into the living room. Yep. Remember, in that window that was so bright.
Yeah.
It was 2 walls of windows.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
And so that was the most bright you could be in my house.
Yeah.
Really. And so the cards started pouring in, and you brought some of those with you.
Yeah. I have a ton.
I mean, you could just...
I was like, I think some of the fun ones are the kid ones, like, because they're just little, cute little drawings.
That's Alexia, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This was Jackson.
That's Jackson, yeah. He even tried to spell your name, Celin. I love it.
I don't know who that is, but...
Yeah.
And then you get the ones, I was like, I don't know where one is exactly, but you get the cards that say, we have one on the wall of someone who I didn't even know who was like, hey, this happened to me.
Oh,
like,
that they had that's another thing that actually happened during this time too. There were other people who had dog attacks that you started talking to.
Yeah.
I remember you talking to 2 people specifically. One was a teenager who was ahead of you in recovery.
Completely, yeah.
Almost the same injury.
Yes.
Remember, she played soccer.
Yes.
Her mom reached out. Believe it or not,
that's the one that's on the wall.
That's the one that's on the wall. Yeah. And then there was another one that is her name Gabby?
Yes.
Yeah. You started talking to her, and her entire nose was taken off.
Yeah.
And that was really hard.
She was like on TikTok. I saw it. She just did like a TLC, something that was like my shape my life, something like that. Like
like a TV show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she'll never respond, but
You reached out to her.
Yeah.
To say, I'm kind of going through something similar.
Oh yeah. And
both of those were dog bites, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that you started talking to them.
Yeah. And then you get these random Facebook messages from people you don't even know that are like, hey, this happened to me, and how are you doing? And you're like, wait, this actually happened? This isn't a one-off thing?
Yeah.
People
I don't think
I had no idea, especially growing up around dogs.
Even now,
had no idea.
Like, I still, like, talk to people, and they'll say, oh, well, I was bit by a dog when I was a kid, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it happens so much.
Yeah, I'll bring it up in conversation at work. Something about, like, kid got, like, scraped, something like that. And I'm like, yeah, scars are, like, pretty cool. You see this?
Yeah.
Huh. And then even the dog bites at work, too. It's just another thing.
You work in a pediatrician's office, and sometimes you actually do have cases come in where it's not a similar situation, not in the gravity of your wound,
but it's even face injuries too. So like you have no idea how big it is until you're actually like talking about it and having an open dialogue about it.
Right. So the GoFundMe was started that day.
Yes.
On the way home.
Yes.
People started sending cards so that when people started dropping off cards immediately. They wanted to know, is there anything that we could get for her that she can, and coloring books showed up, and all kinds of like activities that you could do while sitting and waiting, basically for this wound they said the wound needs to declare itself.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's such an interesting,
it
needed to tell us if it was going to live or die, is what they were saying, the tissue. And you and Kiara set out to keep this wound
as clean as possible
and as wet. Like, they wanted it to stay moist. You had to keep right. Yeah. And she and you worked on this together, and almost always she would be with you in the bathroom doing this. I remember that. It was almost like you didn't want to do it alone.
Yeah.
So she came in with you and helped you with this.
Yeah.
And the two of you did such a good job that 17 days later, when you had your first surgery, the doctor said that he had never seen tissue come back to life the way that you had made it happen.
Yeah.
It was like your job.
Especially we're both CNAs. I mean, we're just like, we need to get this done. I mean, I still have this mindset when I'm doing a task I don't want to do of just like get into a different place and just get it done.
Right.
And I often wonder if it's because of my accident that's why I get like that. Because I have to do like finger pokes at work, and people are always like, "How do you just do that?"
You mean on someone else?
Yeah, on someone else, on a kid, on like
something you don't want to do.
Yeah, something I very much don't want to do.
That you just kind of like
just get into a different space.
Where you're like, no, we just got to get this done.
Yeah,
we'll get the hard part over with now, and move on.
Yeah.
So the GoFundMe, popping back, I'm all over the place, aren't I? The GoFundMe, I looked it up.
Yes.
The GoFundMe raised $15,910.
Yeah.
Which we know pays your mortgage for an entire year.
Yes.
And it had 229 donors.
Yeah.
And that's through GoFundMe.
Yeah.
You had other donations that came to the church.
Yep.
And private donations that came to the house, stuff like that. So really, I don't even have a full figure here of like, I don't know what that brought in too, but I know that changed your mindset
completely
during that time.
Yeah.
You did not have the pressure of feeling like, I better get back to work. I better get back to work.
Yeah.
And thankfully, work was not saying come back either. Like, you had the opportunity to, man, you had the opportunity to stay at home and heal.
Yeah.
Perfect. On day 3, when you came home, do you remember having to call in to set up, like your disability, or is it called part-time disability? Whatever they call
FMLA.
it. Yeah. You had to call and set this up with the company. There's like a firm that does this.
It's like, it makes me laugh because you're helping me because I have no idea. I'm not saying anything right.
So they ask you for your address and you like transposed your numbers?
Yeah. I was giving them my phone number.
Oh, and then you gave them your phone number?
Yeah.
And I like looked at you like trying to, do you not want them to have your number? It was then that we realized that you had a concussion.
Oh, yeah.
Because you firmly told them, like, matter of fact, your phone number twice incorrectly.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, hold on a second. I don't think she's got this all squared away in her head. I was like, no, wait a minute. Let me tell you her phone number because like I interjected because I was like, you're not making sense.
Yeah.
This is not.
I mean, another thing that could have tipped us off is the fact that I didn't want to look at my phone at all.
Oh, right. The light and the, and it wasn't just because your facial recognition was not working. It was because also the
kind
facial
of
recognition. Right. So, not only that day 3, you went to the eye doctor.
Yes. And
we started, honestly, in my opinion, this kind of plays into this fear part for me. We started the silver lining talk.
Yeah.
I started to talk to you about, hey, what happened today that was good? What was the silver lining of today? Because I knew that part of it was bad.
Yeah.
Right? You had to clean that wound a lot. You had to look at that wound a lot. You were home. You were sore. You were confused. There was a lot that was going on that was not good.
Yeah.
So much so that I started feeling like, nope, we need something. We need to start talking about silver linings of the day.
Yeah.
I wanted you to focus on the positive because if you can focus on the positive, the negative feels less effective.
Yeah, completely.
Effective. We'll pretend that. You get the idea.
Yeah.
And that was the day we started silver linings.
Yeah.
And your very first silver lining was?
That I can see?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah. So we went to the eye doctor and there's scars that are very close to your eye.
Right here.
Yeah.
I was like, I can feel them.
And we needed to get that checked out just to make sure your vision had not been affected.
Yes.
Because you were struggling to see like your phone.
Yeah.
And we didn't know.
Yeah.
Structurally, is this okay? Or did something happen?
Yeah.
Did you scratch your cornea? Did, even something minor, we just needed to know so we had a full picture of what we were dealing with.
Yeah.
That was the very first silver lining. And for days and days afterwards, sometimes I would prompt you to, hey, what are your silver linings? I want to post an update kind of thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you would tell me them. That's when I knew things started to turn.
Yeah.
That's when I knew she's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because you started to bring up, hey, I need to tell you my silver linings for today.
Yeah.
You bought in. And I was like, sweet, you bought in. And actually, behind me here, I have little packs of your
silver lining stickers.
These are the little silver lining stickers that we had made for you right after that you started handing out to people.
Yeah.
Right? When you came into contact with them. And these are just the leftovers of those. And it was such a small thing.
Yeah.
But it felt to you like, I don't know, like.
Genuinely was like, okay, what am I living for today?
Yeah.
Like it was a big thing.
Because we're waiting 17 days for surgery.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm also like super emotional is because I'm in therapy at this point.
You mean by the time you had surgery?
Yeah, by the time I have surgery,
Yeah.
I'm in therapy at this point, but I haven't processed the processing of it.
What do you mean?
Like, the part where my nose was still off, was it, like, it felt like a limbo for a really long time. But I also, like, look at it like, there's so many good things that came out of that time, too. So it feels a little bit like imposter syndrome to be like, yeah, I got all this money and it was great, but I was still going through a lot.
Well, money doesn't solve it.
No. But I also got like so many letters. Like, I should have been happier at this point. And it wasn't, obviously.
What point? 17 days? What point? I'm being serious. Like,
No, it makes me laugh because it's true. It was only 17 days. But we'd gotten so much, like, it was also the impact of the community we learned at the same time that was, like, big still. Like, everything felt so big. And I'm sitting in a corner
with a hole in your
waiting.
nose. With a hole in your nose. Waiting to have your nose
Stitched.
put back together.
Yeah.
That picture that I found on GoFundMe today, because I went back through and I was kind of just pulling some stats, that says on it, truly, it says prayers that the whole, I should pull it up honestly,
Yeah.
prayers for the whole, H-O-L-E.
Yeah.
But also that God would make her whole. That was it. I just wanted you back. And you weren't gone. But I was scared that you were going to be gone. That you were going to be significantly changed.
Yeah. And I would argue I am significantly changed.
For the good.
For the better, yes.
But on day 1, 2,
you don't know.
But on day 17, we didn't know.
Yeah.
On day 365, we didn't know. There was so much healing that had to happen.
Yeah.
For you physically, for you emotionally. All of it.
Yeah.
I cared so much about making sure that you were okay and that the other people in the house were okay. I don't think I ever processed it. I remember thinking, I never processed it. There's no way I processed this. I don't even know what process means.
Yeah.
I only know what it means to move forward.
Yeah.
And I don't have a,
yeah.
I think you did a good job. I don't even know that I could give advice to other parents that are going through this.
I hope you never have to, but
traumatic events are like, people look to other people who've kind of gone through either a similar situation or come out on the other side. And I think the only answer to, how people have asked us, what was it like having twins when you were 20? Right?
Yeah.
I didn't know any different.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
What was it like having 5 girls? Did you ever want a boy? No.
Yeah.
Why not? I didn't know any different. I just kept, right?
Yeah.
What was it like with Kellyn's accident? I don't know. I just did what I could because I didn't know any different. And that's maybe the answer of life, is just moving forward and trying to, I don't know. I haven't written a manual. I didn't read a manual. I just knew that I tried to do the best I could given whatever was coming that day.
Yeah.
That survival parenting is exhausting.
Yeah.
Regardless if your daughter is married and out of the house.
Yeah.
Because it's not just parenting you, it's parenting the 4 that were still in the house, with the added complication of the one that's your identical twin.
Yeah.
Being,
broken.
I think. But I still don't even think she's dealt with that.
Yeah.
Not that, I don't think, I asked Kyla this too. I asked her if she sees you two as identical twins or not. She said immediately, she said yes. Like, there was no question.
Yeah.
I have always been able to tell you apart.
Yeah.
Everyone can tell you apart now, though.
Yeah.
Right? If you're both in the same room.
Without a blindfold, yeah.
That changes.
Yeah.
Changes twins.
Yeah.
I don't know. Rough times.
Yeah.
I thought we were going through like the
I
easy
know.
stuff. This is
It's supposed to be an
it
easier
really
episode.
wasn't. It's really not. I think it's good to talk about in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the manual.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the part that people need to hear that takes them. I don't know if it helps anybody or not, but I think it is interesting to talk about it now from a different perspective, from time.
Yeah.
We have time.
Yeah.
That's the answer, actually.
It's true. It's so true.
Time heals all things.
Yeah, because...
No, sorry. Time heals all things that you deal with.
Yeah.
Time heals nothing that you don't deal with.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not willing to go through the fire to deal with it,
yeah,
I don't think time heals anything. I think time actually makes it worse.
Birds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to deal with it,
yeah,
I think time does heal.
Like,
thanks for coming back. Will you come back
Thanks
again?
for dealing with it. Oh, yeah, obviously.
I mean, I guess you are the president of Macyn Stars.
I can't really hide from it.
Can't really hide from it. Hey, Happy New Year.
Hey, you too.